idea of perceiving, how we grant ourselves the future, is very mechanical. So the reason we focused on the physical conscious, the emotional conscious, and the spiritual conscious is so that you understand that there's multiple assets to potentially evolve, multiple parts of your being that aren't just a consciousness. It's very specific. So the body reprograms when we say things, which is why we've talked about the wants and needs, which is why we've talked about knowing what makes you happy and being able to verbalize it like a mantra or a prayer. And so in order to get those things in the future that we want to manifest mechanically, we have to train the mind, and the mind is part of the physical body. Yeah. And so we can't use language that's going to deter us. We can't use deceptive language that's working against us. We have to speak direct for what it is we want and need. We have to speak direct to what it is we truly want to feel, even in the space when we're not feeling what we want. We can't just sit and complain about it or say how terrible it is. That's only programming the body and mind to agree to it. Yeah. We don't want to manifest more of that. No. And so mechanically, it's very easy. We just use our words. That's the hardest part for most people, though, is changing the language. Being able to speak to what it is in the moment that you really want, even when you're feeling the opposite. You know, you might be stressed at your job, feeling like this sucks, I hate my job. Yeah. But if that's what you're focusing on, then that's actually what you're creating too. You're not seeing the opportunities that are there. And so even when you're feeling like the job sucks, what we need to train ourselves to do is respond consciously and even verbalize what we truly want to feel instead of what we're actually feeling. And that will reprogram the body and the mind, because again, the mind is a part of the body. It's not so effervescent. It's not so out there like the third eye part of the brain. The gland itself is different than the brain. Yeah. It's a gateway to the infinite dimensional. It's the gateway to the perceptions of things to come. And the only way we can strengthen it is by programming the physical and emotional conscious to support that effort. And again, the language is critical. It is the root. When I died, when I had near-death experience when I was 12, I was crippled. I couldn't communicate. And so my guides were saying things like, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. And so I would.
No, I lost your speaker. You're muted.
Sorry. Even though it was hard to communicate, to pull information from within me that I knew I wanted to say, I was guided to repeat things over and over again. And what it did was, as I was saying it out loud, it was reprogramming my entire being, not just my brain, but my brain received the strength it needed to divert the neurological activity in the brain to help me have more cognitive ability to speak. It was the case for a long time where I was unable to respond to people. And it would take a while, and I felt handicapped. I was handicapped, and I didn't want to be in that space, and I didn't know what to do. Doctors didn't know what to do, but my guides kept saying, repeat it, just keep repeating it. And so I did, and people would look at me like I was crazy. So I'd sit there and repeat a commercial, or I'd sit there and repeat a phrase over and over and over again, and I felt ridiculous doing it, but something with me, my guidance, something that was pushing me, told me just to do it. And when I did it, I healed. And so that's why every practice of the world talks about mantras and affirmations, and why there's repeated prayers, because it literally programs us to believe. It literally programs us to support ourselves more. And so that's why it's hypercritical for you in this space, as it's been since we started classes, to really consciously be aware of what you're saying to yourself. Because even if it's just a thought, you're programming yourself to agree to it. It's not what you want. Okay. And it is the most powerful tool that you have for conscious transitioning and evolution, next to breathing itself, is language. It is the language that we create that allows our perception, and our perception will evolve so long as we can evolve our communicative effort. And so whether it's in relationships, personal relationships, interpersonal relationship with self, or whether it's, you know, in a place of business and how you want to create a better place for your work, or a better job for yourself, or a new business that's going to be successful, we have to say it. We have to say what it's going to be, not what it feels like it is, or not what struggles it's creating, but simply what we want it to be. And so if you want to be a race car driver, then you say, I'm a race car driver, not I'm going to race cars someday, or maybe I will, but very direct. I'm a race car driver. And if you say that 1,000 times, there's a high chance that somebody's going to say, hey, you ever race cars? Because I have one.
That would be cool. All right, I will
Yeah,
give
it'd
that
be
a
really
try.
cool if that's what you really want to do.
I want
Good,
to do everything.
good.
There's probably not much I don't want to do. I want to try everything. I really do.
And you can do everything. You can do it all. When I was a young child, because of my sensitivities, I didn't really know what I was comparative to other people because of things I was witnessing, but I knew I was witnessing things people didn't talk about. And so my gateway drug was Christianity, and for spirituality, that is. And so, I thought at 8 years old, I thought I must be a prophet because I'm able to see things that are coming in the future. I'm able to feel in people the trauma of their lineage. I can see where people are in honesty, what they're trying to be versus what they actually are. And, at some point, I realized, because of my adolescence, my perception was growing and I was allowing myself to be different things throughout time. Um, at some point, my focus was very much on the future, very much, outside of the here and now, because I believe that the here and now was already gone. But the fact is in order to grow our perception and create that future potential, we have to be in the present, like the ancients have said for thousands and thousands of years. We have to be able to program ourselves in the presence to tap into that mind conscious that is of the body, so that it brings that connection to spirit even closer. And then you can literally be whatever you want to be. So one thing that I decided when I was 11 years old, I had some actualization of a life goal that's been with me ever since. At 11 years old, I said, and this really excited me, still does, but that I wanted to be able to answer any question that my grandchildren would ask me, which meant I was going to have to be able to perceive and have experience in everything that I could in this lifetime. And that really got me excited. And it's similar to what you're saying now. You want to do so much. There's so much that you want to do.
Yeah.
So then you'll have the answers to everything, right? You'll be able to have that perception because you're choosing to grow your conscious, evolve out of what you've been taught to be, living in fear, using communication that's degrading and forcing yourself to repeat the same trauma and pain. It will allow that future to be stronger for you in the idea of what it is you truly want. If you can speak it and repeat it, repeat it, repeat it.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's hard to get out of that because just like you're saying, when I was little, I definitely felt different than everybody else. And I had like I was able to perceive things. And I don't know if you would consider it being psychic, but somebody could explain a situation or whatever, and I already knew what the outcome was going to be. I can foresee like the way their mannerisms and their personality is. I already knew how it was going to play out. But it's odd that other people never know themselves enough to catch on to that. And I don't know. Some people just think that it was weird or odd, and kind of it weighs on you because you're used to all that negative feedback. It's like you're a freak, you're weird, and it's just you kind of stop sharing or any of that. It's hard.
Yeah, well, it scares people.
Yeah.
It scares people, and it's hard because we don't want to scare people, and we don't like the fallout when people are scared. And we feel that sensitivity to it, as you're saying. And so you are psychic. It's not that you may have been or were a little bit. No, you're psychic. If you're connecting to things consciously that are of different dimension, if you're connecting to things consciously that are within other people's consciousness and subconsciousness, then that is psychic. That is connecting more. Some would call it just intuitive, but it's not. Intuitive is just a knowing without knowing. So it's the assumption of knowing. But we can't really ever know until we get confirmation. So we can only assume or presume, which I prefer presume because it's not heavily weighting on the ego to say that I know anything. It's saying that I'm trying to see and make that connection to what is possible, trying to feel more with my psychic energy, my intuitive language, what is the potential? And the more I do that, the more I will know. But I don't assume it, I presume it.
Makes sense. I would just
You've
like
seen
to,
growth, you've witnessed. I'm sorry, what's that?
I would just like to develop it more since
So you are developing it more.
okay, I am developing. You're right. It's my language.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm going to be a little critical. First of all, you're paying me to be. Second of all, it's my job, you know. The communication effort has to be in the forefront. It has to be very conscious. And so if I have a chance to correct you, I will. But but we all have our own perception and capacity of growth, and we're all growing in different ways. We're not growing in a linear form. We're growing from the inside out, like a balloon blowing up. And we all blow up at our own timing. We all expand in consciousness at our own arrival. And perception itself is only based on what we allow ourselves to see. And so if we allow ourselves to see the plight and the discouragement and the attack and the fear that other people are putting on us, mainly, then that's where our focus goes. That's what we create. But if we can take that and say, well, that's them, it's not me. They're saying that because they have an issue, not me, you know. And no matter what somebody has to say that is discouraging or critical or shaming or doubtful of me, it's not mine.
Yeah.
So my language has to be polished. My language has to be like a 3-piece suit or a salsa dancing dress with sequins all over it. We want to shine our language. We want to look as rich as possible with our language. Okay. And that richness, it's not monetary, it's with integrity, it's with life, it's with affirmation, it's with the manifestation. Knowing that you're literally creating your environment, literally creating what's coming to you with every word that you think and speak. But in order to allow it to grow faster and evolve faster, we have to speak it. We have to create that physicality so that we literally physically are programming the cells of our body. Your body's listening. Your voice box is in your body, and your body is almost 90% water. And so just like saying something in a pool, you know, it's resonating throughout your entire being every time you speak. And that is the programming.
The Bruce Lipton's biology of belief. I enjoyed that. That's something, it's scientific and it's like it's true. I like that.
Yeah. Science is supposed to be true. It's supposed to be. Depends on what politician's using it, but yeah. So the availability is a very personal uphill walk. It doesn't have to be a sprint, doesn't have to be a rock climb. It can be a walk. It can be a stroll through the rolling foothills of the mountains. But it is uphill. It is a challenge. And again, because we all have our own perception, we're going to challenge ourselves in different ways. And so it really comes down to how much you value yourself, because if you value yourself enough, then no matter what the challenge, you're going to accept it and you're going to do it.
And I do. I always do.
Good.
I got asked this weekend. I don't know what drives you, which and I'm like, well, because I believe in myself and I know I can do it.
There you go. Heck yeah, you can. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
I like your attitude.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of really good feedback. It's just I want to apply it other areas. So hopefully I can.
It's happening. So every area is being affected currently because of the work you're doing, but you'll see it more and more the more you put that attention into it, the more you give that strength of effort into it.
Yeah.
So it is work. You know, I'm a farm boy. I know what it takes to get the job done, but I've also been crippled and really, really devastated myself.
Yeah.
And having to heal through those traumas, having to heal through that physical pain and emotional stress and inherited traumas of my lineage and all kinds of different things, gives us more perspective if we see it that way. But we have to see it that way, or else we spend our whole life just degrading ourselves and wishing things were different. And that's all we ever achieve is a wish. It never comes. It's an idea, but you're not giving it to the universe the way you want to receive it. You're giving it to the universe in a way that isn't precise. The more precise it is, the more direct it comes back to you. Okay.
Good point.
So I want to race cars. I want a beautiful house. You know, you want all those things. You wrote the list, but every day that can change a little more every time you say it. If you read your list every day, you might say, well, you know what, maybe I don't want that as much as I thought. Maybe I want this. Maybe I don't just want this Civic race car. Maybe I do want the Lamborghini. Or maybe I don't just want it. Maybe I need a Lamborghini. So I need a Lamborghini. I'm going to race Lamborghinis. I'm racing Lamborghinis.
That would be fun. I should do that.
Yeah. Yes, you should. And I will come and ask if I can drive too.
Absolutely.
Idea of